What's up YouTube? Robbie Vapes. This is my new Doge, and this is my other Doge. Alright guys, today we're checking out the Doge V4. At least that's what it's labeled as. To be honest, it looks a lot like the V2. I've been watching a lot of reviews on this thing, and from what I can see, there's only V2s out. I don't think there is a V4 out, so it's kind of weird that this one's labeled as V4. I don't know if it's just different packaging. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think. We're going to make this a really quick video. Basically what we're going to do, we're going to get up close and personal with this guy, do an unboxing, show you what you get in the box. Then what I'll do is take it off camera, do a quick coil build, and test it out for a little bit, maybe an hour or two, come back here and let you know what my final thoughts are and whether or not I recommend it. So with that being said, let's get up close and check out what's in the box. Alright guys, time for the up close and personal. Let's check out what you get in the box. First of all, it's a really cool box. It's labeled as a V4 right here, as you can see. Again, it looks an awful lot like the V2, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, let's take it out, check it out. Here's what you get. You get some really nice packaging. You got the Doge on there. I won't read out all these little jokes on here or anything like that, but or quotes, but you can see them in here. Here's the actual box itself, what you get. Of course, you get the RDA. Right over here, we'll put that aside for a second. And we also get a little package of goodies. You got your O-rings in there, you got screwdriver, which is not blue. You get some silica wick with a pre-built coil on it. And you get, that looks to be it. So you get the silica wick with the pre-built coil, the screwdriver, the O-rings, and of course, the RDA itself. Let's see if it'll focus in there. Kind of see it's pretty shiny. I believe this is the copper color. A few things to point out. There are a couple scuffs on here from machining. To be honest, I don't really care about things like that, but it's always nice to point out just in case. You got the top cap up here, some airflow. Let's actually put it on the ohm reader here so we can take it apart a little bit. You do have a copper pin connection, which is kind of cool. Bottom here it says much and my number, which is 2029. Get this on here. Take this top piece off and you get your 3 posts. So center post is a copper post. You also have copper screws in here. And I noticed you don't get extra screws, so that could be an issue. Especially with copper, it tends to bend pretty easily, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But I'll let you know how it goes. I would say medium-sized medium-sized holes in the post here. I don't think they're huge or massive, not like the Mephisto I got there, the clone, but they're relatively big. I should be able to fit dual 24 gauge wire through there, no problem. Again, screws are copper with double O-ring seal here, and I think that's pretty much it for the base. Let's talk airflow and let's talk this top cap. This is basically a chuff style cap. Really big. I used to like the chuffs. I was using them all the time in my Stellaris that I have. And then I kind of got over it and it's a little bit too big. This looks to be a little bit smaller than a chuff cap, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't have them with me here to show you, but it's basically a chuff style cap. That's what I'm looking at. Airflow, it's pretty much designed for dual coil. I don't think it's really meant for single coil. What you have here, you have your dual airflow, one side, and if you wanted to do single coil builds, you basically have this little hole right here. So you don't even have that much airflow for single coils. That's pretty much what you're stuck with. It's a bit of a downside, to be honest, but for me, I actually vape wide open with my single coil builds if I do a single coil build. I'll just leave them both wide open anyways because I love the airflow. But if you are looking for a single coil build and you know you like your airflow but you don't like too much, this is probably going to be a little bit too small for you. But I'll try it out either way and I'll let you know what I think. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, this is going to be a quick video. I don't want to do too much detail in this. So what I'll do, I'm going to take this off camera. I'm going to build myself a coil. Then I'll be back in probably about an hour or two after I've had a chance to vape on it for a bit. I also need to wash this thing out before I do any building, so I'll do that first. Once washed off, I'll do a coil on here, and then we'll come back in probably, like I said, an hour or two, and we'll start vaping on it and tell you what my thoughts are. Alright guys, we're back. This is a Doge V4. Final thoughts, would I recommend it, things like that. Let's go over a few things I missed in the unboxing. First thing I want to mention is that it has a very shallow juice well. It's not what I'm used to. I'm used to having something a lot deeper. That's just me. Is it a pro or con? For me, it's neither. I can still put enough cotton in there to get my juice in there. It's not a big deal for me, but if anyone's interested or someone has those major cotton builds that I'm seeing a lot these days, just keep that in mind before you purchase it. It does have shallow juice wells. Just a heads up to you guys for what it's worth. I don't know. Take it for what you will. But anyways, I did a build on here. It's a 0.23 ohm build. It's 24 gauge Canthal, 7 wraps, pretty straightforward. I used my new coil jig, which I'll have to do a review on shortly. But yeah, it came out really well, the build itself. I like how it tastes, got pretty good flavor. But before I move on to the actual vape of this, let's talk about some negatives here, especially with the build. The first thing I have to say is these copper screws are not friendly. They were tough to get out, they were tough to put back in. I basically almost stripped them trying to get them in and out because it was just so hard to get them in and out of these posts here. It was not friendly, and trying to get it in while balancing a coil in there was not fun. So, I mean, I'm not really impressed with that, to be honest. Just, I don't know, just me. Maybe it's just the RDA I got, but I mean, this is an RDA, and I will say this, if I could keep this coil the way it is, and it never went bad, I never had to change it again, it wouldn't be too bad, because at least I didn't do too much damage to the screws. I got a couple scratches on them. I tore apart the screw a little bit. Like I said, I almost stripped it because it was just so hard to get in. And you know, I tried realigning it and everything, making sure it was lined up. It was lined up. It was just really tough to get in. So just a heads up to you guys, a warning for building. I mean, this is called an RBA. It's a rebuildable, an RDA. It's a rebuildable dripping atomizer, okay? And yet, I don't want to rebuild on it. So that's kind of a con, because it's just so hard to build on. Second thing I'll say is that as far as the build goes, once I finally got it all together, it worked really well. No issues from there. It's just those screws, and I don't like those copper screws. I don't like that they didn't come with extras. That's a pretty big minus, because these things are going to be torn apart in no time. Give me 3 or 4 builds on this thing, and this was a simple build, but in 3 or 4 builds, those screws are going to be demolished. They're not even going to exist anymore. Whether it be stripping them or whether it be like tearing them apart on the top, it's not friendly. Second thing I want to comment on is the vape itself. I'll take one more hit here really quickly, but let's see if you can notice anything here. Really good vapor production, nothing too bad. Airflow is amazing, actually, I will give it that. I'm going to close it off a little bit here because it's a little too much for me, which is surprising. But this chuff cap right here, it's kind of a negative. You can't change it out. You can't put in a different top or a different drip tip. It's a pretty big negative because when I'm taking a hit off this, I'm actually getting juice like splattering up onto my tongue. And maybe it's because I'm put too much juice in there, but that's how I always juice my coils. I put a little extra in there, and it's pretty bad. So I mean, this top cap is not working for me right now. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I've had chuffs before. I guess I should be used to the juice dripping up a little bit. It's happened in the past. But it's just one thing I wanted to point out, that I can't change it on this one. Whereas on the other ones, like my Stellaire, when I got the chuff cap, I can take it off if I need to, put a different drip tip on it. With this one, you can't. It's a bit of a downside to me. I don't know. I'm going to take one more hit off it again. So that's with the airways about a third the way closed. That's pretty much where I like to vape. It's not quite as airy, but again, I don't know. This top cap is not working for me. The posts are not working for me. You know, this might be my first bad review, to be honest, because I'm not sure about this thing. Maybe I only vaped on it for a couple hours. Maybe I'll get used to it. I don't know, but I'm not liking it. Overall thoughts, I guess, final thoughts on this thing. Would I recommend it to you guys? Or I guess I'll do my simple equation that I always do. What would I rather have? this RDA or my money back. I honestly think in this case, I'd rather have my money back. It's not working for me. It's not what I expected. This chuff style cap, the fact I can't change it is a big downside, but I could have lived with that if it wasn't for the actual deck itself and those screws. The screws were just the biggest downside to it. Those copper screws do not work for me. I'm not a fan of them. They bend really easily. They're very hard to get in and out. It's just not fun to work on. So overall, thumbs up or thumbs down. This one gets a huge thumbs down from me. I don't like it. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you have one of these yet? If you do, let me know what you think. Maybe I got a bad one here with the screws, but and again, the no extra screws, to me, that's just a big downside. Every other RDA I've got has extra screws, and I never use them. And with this one, I can already see myself needing extra screws with this, and it's the one RDA I have that didn't come with extra screws. How is that possible? I don't know. Anyways, that's my thoughts. Overall, don't like it. Just me. I don't know. For what it's worth, tell me what you think. Like I said, if you already bought one of these, let me know your thoughts if you have the same experience with it. If you do, I'd love to hear from you. And if you didn't and you had a better experience, I'd love to hear from you as well, because I want to know if it's just a bad one I got or if it's just how it's built. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, YouTube, and until next time, happy vaping.